The quaint university town of Athens, Ohio, is home to many tales, but none so chilling as the story of Wilson Hall at Ohio University. Nestled among the other dorms, Wilson Hall seems ordinary. However, it sits on an old Native American burial ground, and room 428 is considered the epicenter of the paranormal activity. Students who lived in room 428 reported a series of strange occurrences. Whispering voices, shifting shadows, and items moving on their own were just the beginning. Then came the more harrowing accounts, faces appearing in the wooden door, and an unseen force that rendered one immobile, gripped by an indefinable dread. Sarah, a journalism student, was intrigued by these stories. She decided to dig deeper. Armed with a voice recorder and a thirst for the truth, she knocked on the door of room 428. The door, though locked for years by the university due to its notoriety, creaked open. The room, though barren of furniture, was heavy with an oppressive atmosphere. Sarah's recorder picked up static the moment she stepped inside. Undeterred, she began her solo investigation. "Is there anyone here?" Sarah whispered. She heard a soft thud. Her heart raced, but she pushed forward. "Why are you here?" A voice, faint and anguished, replied, "Buried. Angry." Sarah, feeling a cold chill, remembered the ancient burial ground and realized that perhaps the spirits felt their resting place had been desecrated. The temperature in the room began to plummet. Sarah's breath formed icy clouds in front of her. The shadows in the corners seemed to deepen and grow. She tried to leave, but an unseen force held her back. Suddenly the shadows coalesced into the figure of a young woman. It was Margaret, a former resident of room 428, who had mysteriously disappeared decades earlier. Her eyes, filled with sadness, locked onto Sarah's. "Help me," she whispered. Sarah, though paralyzed with fear, managed to reply, "How?" "Reveal the truth," Margaret implored. As quickly as she appeared, Margaret vanished, leaving Sarah alone once more. Taking a deep breath, Sarah left the room, her mission clear. She began researching and uncovered that the university had built over the burial ground despite protests from local native tribes. Sarah's articles began to gain traction, and soon the plight of room 428 gained national attention. In response, the university, facing immense pressure, began efforts to recognize and respect the site's historical significance. Ceremonies were held, with tribe elders conducting rituals to appease the disturbed spirits. The room was sealed off, turning into a memorial. With the truth unveiled and the spirits acknowledged, the paranormal activity ceased. Room 428's door remains locked, a silent testament to the past and a reminder of the price of progress. Sarah's bravery not only revealed a dark chapter in the university's history, but also gave Margaret and the spirits the peace they longed for. Months after the revelations surrounding room 428, Sarah found herself haunted, but not by restless spirits. Instead, it was an insatiable curiosity that tugged at her. She began to wonder, how many other stories lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered? This question led her to dig deeper into the university's archives. In one dusty corner, she stumbled upon a collection of letters from the early 20th century. Among them was an unopened envelope, addressed to an unnamed recipient with the simple note, "To be opened when the time is right." Intrigued, Sarah carefully opened it. Inside, she found a diary that belonged to a young woman named Clara. The entries described her life at the university, but as Sarah read on, she was drawn into a tale of forbidden love, ancient rituals, and a dark pact. Clara had fallen for a man named Thomas, a scholar who had become obsessed with the mysticism and rituals of the Native American tribes that once lived in the region. In his quest for knowledge, he'd come across an ancient ritual to confer immortality, but this gift came at a heavy price. As Sarah turned the pages, she discovered that Clara and Thomas, driven by their love and fear of mortality, had performed the ritual. But things had gone terribly wrong. Instead of immortality, they were trapped in a limbo, neither alive nor truly dead, bound to the university grounds. The diary abruptly ended, with a chilling last entry. "We are here, waiting." Sleepless nights followed. Sarah, consumed by the story, decided she had to find a way to free Clara and Thomas. Remembering the tribal elders who had helped before, she approached them with Clara's diary. After reading the diary, the elders informed Sarah of a counter-ritual. But it was perilous, and required a willing participant to venture into the spirit world to guide the lost souls out. Believing in her purpose, Sarah volunteered. The night of the ritual, she sat encircled by candles, the elders chanting ancient verses. Slowly, the world faded away, and Sarah found herself in a dense, fog-covered landscape. Ahead, she spotted two figures, Clara and Thomas. Their eyes, once filled with life, now looked hollow. Yet, they recognized Sarah and the lifeline she offered. Taking each of their hands, Sarah began leading them through the fog, dodging vengeful spirits and navigating shifting terrains. After what felt like both moments and lifetimes, a warm light appeared. The trio moved towards it. As they approached, Clara and Thomas began to regain their vibrancy. They looked at each other, love and gratitude evident in their eyes. As they stepped into the light, they turned to Sarah. "Thank you," they whispered, before vanishing, leaving Sarah alone in the radiant glow. When she woke up, she was back in the circle, the elders smiling down at her. Sarah had succeeded. Not only had she uncovered a hidden story, but she'd also set two trapped souls free. From that day on, Sarah was not just a journalist. She was a beacon of hope for lost souls, using her pen and her courage to right the wrongs of the past.